about the renal embryology, we have discussed about the renal anatomy. So now let's say moving on to the thing that how the normal function, what is the normal functioning of the kidney. So first of all, we will discuss about what are the main functions of the kidney and what is the importance of the kidney. Kidney is a very important organ inside our body because it regulates many of the functions inside our body. For example, it can regulate our water and electrolyte balance. It can generate the metabolic waste outside of the body, and it can also purify the blood from the toxic materials. And what it can also do, it can also helps in the formation of the vitamin D, the prostaglandins. We have got the erythropoietin, bone marrow functioning. These are the whole things which are performed by the kidney. We will just go through that, and then we will go into the each and every detail of that. Okay, you people first have to be very patient before starting the renal physiology, because it's very easy if you understand, and if you don't understand, you will think like what you are talking about, what Miss Isha is talking about. This will just fly over your heads. So be attentive in the class, and with the name of Almighty, we must start that. Okay. The first important thing about the kidney is that it has got the structure, bean-shaped structure. So it has just a curved shape, like from this side there is the curve. Okay. So we will not discuss the anatomy, but still we will see about the important function. So first important function of the kidney is the excretory function. I'm very bad at the spelling. Excretory function. So what is the excretory function? You see, what is I talked in the previous lecture that secretion, filtration, reabsorption and excretion are very different things. Filtration means from the glomerular filtrate, and the reabsorption means from the blood vessel it goes back into the renal tubule, and secretion means from the blood it comes into the tubule. And excretion, here I wrote a word excretion. Excretion means going outside that of the body. So whatever you have been taking, what is the fluid material, it will be going through outside of the body from the kidneys, from the ureters, from the urinary bladder, and then the urethra. This is the normal thing. And what is the solid mass? This will go to the fecal waste and the hepatobiliary system. There is the anal region, it goes over there. But whatever the fluid you take, whatever the fluid part of the food you have been taking, this goes out by the kidney. So kidney will not allow everything to go out. Kidney will allow certain substances which are not useful for our body. Then it will just judge the things. Okay, you are good for us, take it. You are bad for us, you can go out. This is the normal thing about that. So excretory function, in the excretory function we have got the three things, that what is the firstly the toxic materials. You see the toxic materials, there are some drugs you take, there are some harmful things that by chance you take the food from not from the proper source, not from the proper hygienic conditions, the bacterial food, or you can say the things which are harmful for our body. Sometimes you take overdose of the alcohol, sometimes you take the overdose of the drug, sometimes you take the overdose of something that is not good for you. So it must not remain inside that of a body, it must be excreted out. So this function is performed by the kidney, that you have to excrete that thing outside of the body. So this is a very simple thing. We are discussing just the general concepts first, and then we will go through the very deep concepts moving on further next. Then the second thing is the biotransformation. Okay. You see, biotransformation is a very broad term, like it's very important. Bio means living thing, and transformation means that it has to be from A to B, it has to be converted into the other thing. In pharmacology, it's also a very important topic, but here we will first think about the biotransformation. Okay, what the biotransformation is, that for example, here we have got the liver, we have got the stomach, we have got the kidney. Whatever you have been taking, whatever you have been eating comes here, and for example, this is the hepatobiliary system. You are taking that thing. These all membranes, you see, these all organs have the lipid membranes. The cells have the lipid bilayers. Lipid bilayer means all the layers, all the cells have the lipid bilayers. This is a general concept. Everyone knows that the cell is made up of the lipid bilayer and stuff like that. So the drugs which we are taking are also the lipid soluble, and once the substance is lipid soluble, it can cross the biological membranes. The biological membranes are these things like the liver, like every thing present, every membrane inside our body present is the biological membrane. You see, so what happens is that if you take the lipid soluble drug, the drugs are mostly lipid soluble and they are water soluble. There are two forms of the drugs, lipid soluble and water soluble. But if they are the lipid soluble, so how can you say that it will remain and act inside that of the body? So when you will take that drug which is the lipid soluble, it comes and it goes anywhere. Because these are the biological membranes, the drug can go anywhere. But we have to stop that thing. We have to provide a specific target to that drug. So that's why we need to bind that drug with another stuff, so that it cannot cross each and every biological membrane. This is one thing. And second thing, why we convert this drug into the water soluble substance. Lipid soluble is converted into
water soluble.
Water soluble. Okay, because the layers which are present inside our body are not water soluble, they are lipid bilayer. So they will not allow the water soluble substance to cross through that. In the same fashion, we can say that if you will take that drug, specific drug, to excrete it out, you have to make it water soluble. Why is that so? For example, just let me make a nephron over here. You see, here is a nephron. So in the proximal part of the distal, in the proximal convoluted tubule, when this drug comes, it will be reabsorbed, because this layer is also a lipid bilayer and drug is also lipid soluble. So it will be reabsorbed over here. So if this drug has to be excreted out, so how can you say that if this is a lipid soluble, it can go out? It will not go out, it will reabsorb all the that specific drug. So in order to excrete it out, we have to first convert it into the water soluble substance. So by how to convert that substance into water soluble substance? By the process. There are two phases of the biotransformation, which is the phase 1 and phase 2. In phase 1, we have got the conjugation. Conjugation is the thing that you have to take one thing and attach with another thing, so that it becomes the heavier thing or it becomes the water soluble thing. So for example, you take that drug which is the lipid soluble substance and you provide the glucuronic acid. Glucuronic acid, and also the, you can say the
Highly charged molecules
and high molecular weight substances. So these are the substances you can add in the lipid soluble drug. These are present inside that of the hepatocytes, like they are naturally present over there. So if you want to convert, the body has the natural tendency to conjugate that thing. So once you have conjugated that drug with this specific glucuronic acid and the stuff like that, so you can convert the lipid soluble substance into the water soluble substance, and that water soluble substance will have to be going out through the hepatobiliary system or the urinary system. There are the two ways how this drug now can go. For example, here it went, this drug was absorbed by the blood and it came here. Okay, this drug comes here. Now it has been converted from lipid soluble to water soluble due to the reason that we have added glucuronic acid. Okay, and you have got the taurine, or you can add the you can say you have added the sulfate. Now what happens is that this water soluble substance can have the two pathways. Now either it can go by blood to the kidney, it will come outside and it will be going into that of the kidney. Now for example, now this drugs comes here by the blood, this drug come here. Will it be absorbed here? It will not be reabsorbed here due to the reason that it's not lipid soluble now. Now it has become the water soluble. So this drug will come and will appear in the urine. So you see why conjugation is that much important. To excrete that drug, we have to
make it water soluble.
This is one thing. Second thing is from the hepatobiliary system, this drug will come here. Once this drug has been came by the hepatobiliary system, means from a hepatocyte there is a biliary duct, the bile duct, the whole process like that. I will not go into that detail, but still hepatobiliary system, then it will go to the intestines, and intestine it will go through the anal region. Fecal route. Through the fecal route it will go out. So you see the drug goes out of the body. So this was our main task, to take that specific drug into that of the from outside of the body. Once it has done its completion, once it has done its task, so we have to excrete it out. This is one thing. This is the phase 1, is the conjugation. So this clears our concept of the biotransformation from the pharmacology. We have been studying biotransformation for so long. There is the phase 1, phase 2. We will also study there, but still here is the a bit detail of that. One is this thing. The second is that you have to make the substance polar. Polar means making charged particle. So once you have taken that drug, for example, this is the drug. This is the drug you took. If you this drug can easily cross the membranes, but once you make it charged, either positively charged or either negatively charged, but most probably the positively charged, because this positive charge can cross this glomerular membrane due to the reason that this is the basement membrane. We will discuss the whole things further on. This is the you see, this is the basement membrane. This is the basement membrane, and from here you see here this is the negatively charged area. The whole this basement membrane, or the Bowman's capsule, we can say this here is the basement membrane here. So this is the Bowman's space. So the Bowman space and the basement membrane is negatively charged. So if it is positively charged, it can easily cross to that. For example, if it is neutral, or you can say if it is negatively charged, it is not that much efficient to cross the biological membrane. Let me present this thing into a graph so that you can better understand. For example, this you have got the x-axis and you have got the y-axis. Okay. Okay. What happens is, this is the clearance. Clearance of what? That this is the filtration, and this is the renal tubule consideration along this way. So you see, as the filtration has been increased, like from this way, study the graph from this point. The filtration, as the filtration is decreasing, because every time if you are taking a jug and you are pouring, so you see the filtrate is decreasing. Now filtrate is increasing, but the fluid is decreasing, because once you have started pouring, the fluid in the jug will decrease. So just think about that. Once you have started filtering that thing, so the fluid will decrease at this point. And also along with the thing that filtration will increase if it is positively charged, and filtration will decrease. You see, here filtration is decreased. If you don't think about this area, you are thinking about this. This is decreasing. The graph declines this way. You see? So, this straight line, this line presents that once you have been decreasing the filtration, the filtrate is increasing, and if it is positively charged, the graph will be away from this line, and if it is negatively charged, the graph will be still away from that of the normal slit line, but this is in this direction. So this was about that if it is positively charged, so you can cross the basement membrane or you can cross the Bowman's capsule easily. But if it is positively charged, like you cannot make it like you cannot cross it properly. Or if it is neutral, then you can also not cross it easily. So if it is negatively charged, it can cross. Okay, I wrote it here. This is positively charged and this is positively charged. I wrote it correctly, but I did something very new here. Okay, so this was the thing that if it is positively charged, it can cross easily, and if it is negatively charged, so it cannot cross this thing. So this is the proper discussion about the biotransformation. So this is one function of the kidney. We have been talking about the toxic substances. Now we talked about the biotransformation. This is the second part of this excretory function. Now we will discuss about the metabolic wastes. What are the metabolic wastes? You got that thing? The biotransformation?
Yes.
Any questions?
No.
Up to now. This graph you understand?
Yes.
And after the lecture, if I will ask the questions, you have to answer them. And if you don't know, you can stop me here. I can give a brief discussion, brief you again. But at the end of the lecture, if you said that I don't understand, then I have to punish you people. So the metabolic wastes. So what are the metabolic wastes in your opinion?
Urea
And
creatine
and
like toxic materials and
toxic materials I already talked about. Metabolic waste. Okay, this is a very important term. Metabolic. Metabolic means that it has been generated
through different biochemical reactions that take place in our body.
Yes, exactly. So that has been taking place inside our body. So you see that urea is formed by the degradation of different amino acids.
Yes.
I'll talk about that. And keratin is also due to different processes in our body. Toxic materials means that you ingested by mouth and it has not been metabolized inside our body. Urea, we don't take urea, but we take amino acids. And when we take amino acids, then urea is a byproduct. Okay, so we will go through that. Okay, urea and keratin. So this is one thing. Urea, how urea is formed. For example, we have got the amino acids and carbon dioxide. Along with that of the ornithine, you remember the urea cycle?
Yes.
Carbamide,
Like carboxyl phosphate is converted into arginosuccinate.
succinate, and then it converts into the arginine,
which release urea and water.
which releases urea and
water as a byproduct.
Water. But here, there is a enzyme named fumarate. In this urea act as the byproduct. So this is the urea cycle. Carbon dioxide and ammonia starts it, and this is the whole cycle. And every time you took the amino acids, the urea will be formed. And creatinine is also as a metabolic waste present inside our body. So here arises the question that you have to do the glomerular filtration rate test. So how can you judge that? By if the metabolic waste is so high in our body, you can also think that there is something wrong inside our body. And if there is the very decreased amount of the urea, so it means that you are taking the proper meal, but still you are not wasting, you are not getting the urea outside of our body. This is the one condition. Okay, let me explain it in easy words. That you are taking the food, but still what happens is you are not excreting the urea out. Urea is inside your body, creatinine is inside your body, but you are not excreting it out. Okay, so your urine will be pure. In easy words, we can say that. So how can you judge that your kidneys are not working properly? So what would be the test of that?
Through creatine then.
Why could not be the urea?
Because urea, like if we take a lot of amino acid or protein diet we are taking, then there will be a lot of urea production in our urine.
Oh, yeah, I'm glad to listen that you know about, you remember the last lecture.
Yeah,
Okay.
But in creatine it mainly depends upon the kidney function. So if creatine is increased or decreased, so like.
Okay, thank God I didn't offer any dollar on that because I knew that. So urea is formed by the degradation or the breakdown of the amino acids, and whenever you take the meat, whenever you take the proteins, and whenever you take the eggs, then urea will be formed because urea has amino acids and amino acids breakdown will form the urea. But creatinine is not that much metabolic that doesn't go through the metabolic processes. So as there is creatinine, it goes out as it is. So this is the golden test. Creatinine would be the golden test for that of the like excretory function, to judge the excretory function of that of the kidney. Okay, you get that point? So this was about the metabolic waste, which was the urea, and there was also para-aminohapuric acid. There is also the inulin. We will go into the further details when we will talk about the glomerular filtration. Then we will talk about these two things. But here, to this extent, for you people, you have to understand the urea and creatinine. Creatinine is the gold test for the kidney. Okay, this is one thing. Now the functions of the not done yet. Excretory function is done. Now the second function is the regulatory function. Regulation of what?
Like water,
Okay.
acid-base balance.
Okay. Let me make a space for it. First of all, there is the water. Second is the electrolytes and
Acid-base.
acid base. So water, how the kidney is important for the water regulation. From which part? Okay, let's make a question, very easy question that you have been studying. From where? From which part of the nephron? What is nephron? Oh, let it be. This was a very easy question. Nephron is a functional unit of the kidney, and there are 1.2 nephrons present in each kidney, and this and that, and let it be. So here is a question that let me make a difficult question, that from where the water is maximally absorbed. Villar must have been knowing that. Which part? Yes.
Proximal convoluted to descending limb of loop of Henle.
And what about the ascending limb of loop of
Is
Henle?
impermeable.
Why?
Water will not be absorbed.
Okay, this is a good thing. My students at least know that. So water is absorbed maximally from proximal convoluted tubule. You see here, this is the proximal convoluted tubule. This is the descending limb of loop of Henle, and this is the ascending limb. So here water cannot be absorbed. This is impermeable to water. This part, which is the ascending limb of loop of Henle, which is going upwards, this is impermeable to water. So water is absorbed in this part maximally, and it is absorbed. 65% of the water is absorbed by the proximal convoluted tubule, and some part of that 15 to 20% is also absorbed into that of the descending limb of loop of Henle. And here is the hairpin, that is the limb of that is the loop of Henle, and also some part, very little part, 5 to 2% can be in the distal convoluted tubule and the collecting duct. So this is one thing present. So water is very important to maintain. If there is the increased amount of water that you are taking, okay, if there is increased amount of water that you are taking, the normal requirement of the body for the every day is like 5 to 600 ml you have to take. We will make the calculation, don't worry about that. It was just a general term. So if you are taking more water, so more water will be absorbed or normal amount will be absorbed?
Normal amount will be absorbed, so excretion it will be increased, so urine will be
there will be 65% has to be absorbed. If you take 100% of the thing, like you take more water, then it will form the polyuria, but the reabsorption capacity would remain the same. Like little bit it will be increased, but it doesn't mean that if you are taking more water it will be absorbed by that thing. So don't drink water that much, and don't drink it that much less water that you form the oliguria.
And it also depends upon the solute concentration.
It also depends upon the solute concentration, that how much water you are taking, how much solutes has to be going in, because whenever the sodium goes then water follows. So if solute is less, then water also follows the less one. Okay, this was one thing. And the second thing is the electrolyte balance. Electrolytes, which are the electrolytes present over here?
like
Sodium, chloride, potassium, calcium, magnesium, and iron,
H2CO3.
H2CO3, bicarbonate.
Yes.
Okay. So the bicarbonates, these are present over there. So you can say that sodium is present, chloride is present, calcium is present. These are the electrolytes present over there. So to maintain these electrolytes, this is very important function of the kidney to regulate these functions, because if there is the potassium levels high inside that of our blood, if there is high concentration of the potassium, this may cause the death of the patient, or this may cause the death of the person, because hyperkalemia is a very dangerous condition. So like in old era, what happens is that doctors knew that hyperkalemia could cause the death of the patients. So they don't hang out the jailers, they don't hang out the like prisoners. They just inject the potassium into their veins, and then they just get hyperkalemia, and then they die. So this is a very minute concentration. If it is fluctuated, then it may cause the death of the person. So to maintain that thing, kidney is responsible for that. Sodium, 65% of sodium is absorbed in the proximal convoluted tubule. Chloride is also absorbed. We will discuss into the renal tubular processing, but still here we are going to the general concept that these all are maintained by the electrolytes are maintained by the kidney, and the acid base regulation. So okay, let me not write the bicarbonate here. Let me write the bicarbonate under the heading of the acid base, because you are taking the proteins, you are taking alcohol, you are taking different like food and meals every day. So they have very acidic condition inside our body. That acidic condition must have to be compensated. How they can be compensated? By the bicarbonate. So you cannot let these bicarbonates go into the urine. For example, you have got the bicarbonates here. Okay, let me describe in. For example, this is the proximal convoluted tubule. So bicarbonate have to be degraded into carbon dioxide and water, and then this carbon dioxide is absorbed by the proximal convoluted tubule, and once this carbon dioxide, and in the presence of carbonic anhydrase. This is the enzyme which converts the bicarbonate into carbon dioxide and water. This carbon dioxide will again protein that is released from that of the kidney. How they are? Let me describe you. Firstly, erythropoietin. 1000 times we have been discussing about that erythropoietin is important in the formation of the RBCs. Okay, so how it is important? Just see that for example, here we have got the kidney, and in the kidney we have got the peritubular cells. The peritubular cells. Peritubular cells means that here if we have got the nephron, here we have got the nephron. Along with that of the nephron, we have got the peritubular
Capillary network.
Peritubular capillary network. So, okay, let me make a bit Increased diagram. So here you have got the peritubular capillaries. Okay, this is the peritubular capillaries. And the peritubular capillary also have the cells, which are the oxygen sensors. These are the oxygen sensor cells. So once they detect the oxygen is increased, okay, when the oxygen is increased, they will inhibit their function. They will inhibit their function. Once they sense that oxygen is increased, they will inhibit their function. How they inhibit their function? That they will know this time RBCs are not required, cause RBCs carry the oxygen. So here the RBCs carry the oxygen. For example, this thing, that this is the RBC here in the blood. So if there is increased amount of RBC, then there is the increased amount of the oxygen. When there is the increased amount of the oxygen, it means that there is the increased amount of the RBCs, because RBCs carry the oxygen. At this point, what happens is, when RBCs are increased, oxygen is increased. So this senses that oxygen is increased, there is no need to produce the erythropoietin, which is required for the bone marrow house, for the formation of, there is the lymphoid series, there is the myeloid series. You remember?
Yes.
There is the lymphoid series, and from the lymphoid series there are 5 cells, which is the platelets, which is the eosinophils, which is the basophils, which is the neutrophils, and there are also the RBCs. And in the RBCs there is required the erythropoietin. Okay, so here erythropoietin is required from the myeloid series. From here there is the B cells and T cells. But from the myeloid series there is the RBCs formation, and for the RBCs formation there is the requirement of the erythropoietin. When there is increased RBCs, there is already increased RBCs inside our blood. So why would you require the erythropoietin to make the more RBCs? So it means that there are the oxygen sensors. How they will detect? Here's the nucleus. There is a receptor. It will give signal to the nucleus, and the nucleus will give the signal, will form the ribosomes, will form the RNA, and RNA will be formed, transcribed in the ribosomal RNA, then with transcription RNA, the stuff like that, the whole process, the whole series. And then this forms the protein called as the erythropoietin, and then the erythropoietin goes to the bone marrow house, and then it goes to the proper function. So you see that when is the increased amount of the RBCs, then increased amount of the oxygen. So no need to form the further RBCs are required. So the kidney is regulating the formation of the RBCs by the erythropoietin. So this is one of the endocrine function. Second function is the renin. Okay, how the renin is doing this thing? Okay, let me remove this. Okay. Here we have got this is what?
What's that?
Here we have got the nephron. The simple nephron is present over here. So whenever there is the increased amount of the solutes, for example sodium and chloride, it is absorbed by proximal convoluted tubule. As I told you that proximal convoluted tubules are the monsters. They will absorb each and everything, like their sodium, chloride, amino acid, glucose, carbon dioxide, water, and all the things, like even urea and creatinine is also absorbed by that, and the whole things, everything is absorbed by the proximal convoluted tubule. So we can say they are the monsters. So this sodium is absorbed by this proximal convoluted tubule. Okay, but here is an important thing. For example, if it is not absorbed here, so they will appear into
Urine.
not in the urine, but here in the distal convoluted tubule. And here are the sodium sensor cells. which we call as the
Macular densa.
macula densa. They are the sodium sensors. Okay. Once they detect, due to any reason, sodium is increased. We will discuss these things into the proper lectures. But here, just to describe the function, I'm telling you that, for example, due to any reason, the sodium has been increased. Due to the reason that glomerular filtration rate is increased or the blood pressure is increased. When the blood pressure is increased, this cannot be filtered easily. So, once there is the filtration, there is not the proper absorption, this is not working properly, or due to some reason pressure is increased, that's why the sodium is appearing here and chloride is also appearing here. These are the sodium sensors, and these sodium sensors, once the sodium is increased here, the macula densa will cause the release of renin. And renin is a vasoconstrictor. It will constrict the afferent arteriole. This is the afferent arteriole. This is the efferent arteriole. Cause E for exit. E for afferent. So it will go that way. This is the afferent arteriole. So renin will vasoconstrict that. So this is also the function performed by the kidney. How to regulate the normal blood pressure. Renin angiotensin system. This is very important system we will discuss in the upcoming lecture. So renin and also the prostaglandin. Bilal must know. Prostaglandin is released by
Many cells.
no, it is formed by that way. Here, where the prostaglandin goes and act.
Nephron, it will be a dilation.
Okay, from where? At which part, specific part of the nephron this will act? Okay, proximal, like at the afferent arterioles, A for afferent arterioles, they will cause the vasodilation. Prostaglandins. Okay. Now there is a little confusing thing. Renin cause the vasoconstriction. Prostaglandins cause the vasodilation at the afferent arterioles. Okay. If there is some reason that we have to vasodilate, for example, the blood pressure is very high, so we have to vasodilate. Because when we vasodilate, blood pressure will lower down. Okay. Okay. Let me describe in a thing that, for example, it is a narrow tube. So when the fluid will go through it, then what will happen? The blood pressure or the fluid pressure will be increased for the narrow area. But once the area is increased, so what do you think? The pressure would be increased or decreased? The pressure would be, of course, decreased. That's why if there is the blood pressure increased very much, so we have to open the vessel so that the blood pressure would go down. So the blood pressure must be decreased. So this way, vasodilator is important. For example, prostaglandin is important. We will also discuss that NSAIDs will work at here. Non-steroidal and anti-inflammatory drugs how they will act on that. And do you want to know it at this stage, or I have to proceed on? What do you think? Should I explain it here?
Yeah.
Okay. Here the thing is that prostaglandins are inhibited by NSAIDs. NSAIDs means that NSAIDs are the inhibitory drugs of the afferent arterioles. Okay, we can say that vasodilation, which is performed by the prostaglandins, is inhibited by the non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs, and there is a huge spectrum of these drugs. Like not one class, there is multiple classes of these drugs. So what happens is sometimes when there is hemorrhage going on, for example, a person, a 75 years old man, which is bleeding. Okay, so its sympathetic tone is increased, and if sympathetic tone is increased, at that time vasoconstriction would be happening over there, cause the person is in the sympathetic nervous system. His sympathetic nervous system has been on. Okay, are you getting my point, or I'm teaching to myself?
Yeah.
Okay, the thing is, let me show you. 75 years old man is hemorrhagic. like he's bleeding. Once he's bleeding, it means that the blood pressure has been increased, cause it's bleeding from one side and other like heart rate has been increased and sympathetic tone has been increased. So what would be the renal blood pressure? It will be also increased at that point. So we have to, by the nature, by God Almighty, he has given us the property that there would the local prostaglandin release for the vasodilation, cause the person is bleeding, so natural compensatory system will release the prostaglandins. So I'm telling you about the NSAIDs which inhibit the prostaglandins. So once the person at the time we give that person the NSAIDs, what would happen to his kidney? His kidney would get the renal failure. Cause once it has the blood pressure increase, we have vasoconstricting, and prostaglandins was present over there, which was vasodilating. Firstly, it was vasoconstricted too, like that much that it is very dangerous for the kidney. On that, you are giving the NSAIDs, which is further vasoconstricting the renal thing. Then how can you survive? How can you let the patient survive? And even that, the patient is very old. He is 75 years old. Even his cells are not working properly. At that time, you will give the NSAID and you will kill the patient. You get my point?
So sad.
Yes, it is. Like you must have to be very careful in your clinical life. Like here you are studying, but when you're dealing with the patients, you must have to be very serious and very conscious about that. Okay.
Okay.
So this is one thing, prostaglandins. Okay. Now there is another endocrine function, which is these are enough endocrine functions. Now fourth one is the metabolic function. Metabolic means that something which is going on inside our body. Okay. Metabolic function is performed by the thing that kidney is important for the formation of vitamin deactivation. Okay. Vitamin D comes from sunlight. Here you have got sun. Where you don't have got sun here. Not the son and the daughter. You have got the sunlight and it will interact with your skin.
Yes.
And here it is the only the calciferol. Okay. Calciferol. It has to be converted into cholecalciferol by the hydroxylation. It will go to the liver to form 25 hydroxy cholecalciferol. Then it has to go to the kidney to got the hydroxylation further on. And it will get one hydroxylation extra at the first point. Okay?
Yes.
So at first point there would be 125 cholecalciferol. Cause there is 1 and 25 at the position number 1 and the position number 25. So there are two hydroxylation points. So we will call it as a dihydroxy cholecalciferol. So this is the inactive form. For the activation of vitamin D, you have to go through the kidney by the presence of 1-alpha hydroxylase enzyme. So when there is 1-alpha hydroxylase enzyme, okay, there is also very interesting point in that there is 1-alpha hydroxylase enzyme. And along with that, you have to provide the calcium by the parathyroid hormone. Parathyroid hormones are the phosphate trashing hormones, that phosphate will be trashed, and parathyroid hormone has the important function to release the calcium, and calcium is important to work along for the activation of vitamin D into that of the 125 dihydroxy cholecalciferol. Okay, you get my point. And okay, let me sum it up in a bit detail, because some of you might not concentrate on that. Okay, here is the sunlight. When you go outside, you have got the sunlight on your skin. In the skin, you have got the calciferol at that point. Okay, once you go outside, you are in the direct contact with the sunlight, you will get the calciferol. But this is not the active form of vitamin D. This is not actual vitamin D that you are taking. So this will go to the liver for the hydroxylation. Hydroxylation means to attach OH group. Okay. So for this, cholecalciferol has to attach an OH group so that it will convert in at the 25th point. Okay, 25th point. So it will be converted into 25 hydroxylase cholecalciferol. Okay, then it will further require hydroxylation and it will go into that of the kidney, and in the kidney it will require 1-alpha hydroxylase enzyme, and even calcium is required to convert in the inactive form of 25 hydroxylase cholecalciferol into 125 dihydroxylase cholecalciferol. Okay, this is one thing. So this is the active form of the vitamin D. So this is the metabolic function of the kidney which is performing over here. Now, another metabolic function. Bilal must tell what is the next metabolic function of the kidney. He is laughing and he is looking at me in a very suspicious manner. But still, we have to tell that, okay, someone who would tell me. I may offer some dollars. I know that you don't know, that's why I'm offering. Okay, next, moving on to the thing, this starts with the D. Well, letter D. Something? Any guesses?
Decarbonization of.
No, anything not like that. Before you tell me something, let me tell you.
Dopamine.
Okay, dopamine. This increases. This is the vasoconstrictor actually. If it is in the high doses, this is a vasoconstrictor. But if it is in the moderate amount is increased, then this is not a vasodilator. Then this will dilate the interlobular arteries. Okay, this can act as the vasoconstrictor as well as the vasodilator. Okay, so these are the two important points, that when it has the high doses, then it will be formed as, or this will be important and act as a vasoconstrictor, but when it is in the lower amounts, then we can say that this is the vasodilator. Okay, so this is the important thing about the metabolic waste, not the metabolic function of the kidney. Here, before I end my lecture, I have to tell you about, there are two types of this was the general functions of the kidney. Now I will tell you about the nephrons. This is the kidney. There is no kidney here. This is the kidney. I alhamdulillah got the two kidneys, but still here we have got the one kidney present over here. There are nephrons present over here. 1.2 million nephrons that are present inside of the one kidney. The two in the both kidneys, 2.4 nephrons, 2.4 million nephrons are present over there. So this is the thing. But how they are arranged in the kidney? How they are arranged inside that of the. Why it looked so suspicious? Okay, you see these are the pyramids, isn't it?
Yes.
And we have got this region is called the
Cortical region.
and this is called as the
Medullary region.
medullary region. Inside there is medullary region. Okay. Once I was in the medical school, I used to say that what is the cortical region and what is the medullary region. For so many years I didn't remember that. But then I got to know that this is a C-shaped. So cortex means C, and it's outside. So this is the cortical region. And I can tell you that 80% of the nephrons are present in the cortical region and 20% are present in the medullary region. So here would be the short tubules or nephrons would be present in the cortical region, but the long, you see, they have to give the longest tubules, due to the reason that they have to go to the very center. Okay, so the medullary nephrons are longer in size, and the cortical nephrons are short in size.
Like their glomerular part is present in cortical area, but the loop of Henry and
To some extent, yes, we can say that glomerular part, some of them would have their thing, but it doesn't mean that this would not have the part. So
And
this means that they have the longer
Loop
loop of not actually the loop of Henle, the collecting ducts and the loop of Henle along both. The tubule, let's say summarizing
Tubular
thing,
region.
the tubular region is increasing that of the medullary region. So 80% is present in this region and 70% is in this region. Then I also told you about in the anatomy lecture that there we have got maximum of the capillaries we have got in the cortical region. Because we have been taking the renal tubule, here we have got the renal artery, and then we have got the interlobar arteries, we have got the segmental arteries, and then we have got the interlobar arteries, we have got the arcuate arteries, we have got then the further on we have got the capillaries. We have after that we have got the afferent arteries, we have got the efferent capillaries, we have got the efferent arteries, then we have got the veins, we have got the peritubular capillaries. So these are the things. So maximum of these arteries are present in the cortical region, and due to this region the medullary nephrons or the medulla is very susceptible to ischemia. Means that if there are no arteries, not many arteries present over there, so not the maximum of the oxygen cannot go over there. So that's why they are more susceptible to the ischemia. Okay.
Okay.
This is the important point. So and even the concentration of the solutes that is present. Okay, how can you say that here the osmolarity would be 300, and as it moves down the osmolarity increases. Why it increases? For this thing that I have took this nephron outside. So here the osmolarity would be 300 milliosmolar per liter, due to the reason that here sodium is also present and water is also present. But as we further move on downwards, the water is absorbed to the maximum level, and what happens is that here osmolarity is increased to 1200 millimeter of mercury. Okay. Pardon. So in the medullary region, it's medullary region, what happens is that osmolarity has been increased. Okay. So this was about the positioning of the nephron and the function of the kidney. So next we will study about the glomerulus and its function. So class must be going on to the next thing. Okay, let's meet up in the next lecture.
Is also called juxtamedullary nephrons.
What?
Yes.
And what is the difference between the juxtamedullary apparatus of nephrons?
Okay, juxtamedullary apparatus and nephrons. Let me tell you.
Nephrons are present to the medullary regions.
Juxtamedullary nephrons, they are present. They are longer in size and they are present. And here we can say that if they
Just
are
a glomerular apparatus, not just medullary apparatus.
listen, juxtamedullary nephrons means that they are present in the medullary region. Juxtaglomerular apparatus means that they are closed with that of the glomerulus. That's why we call it juxtaglomerular apparatus. And apparatus means that there has to perform the things, they have to seal the things, they have to filter the things, and they have many important functions performing over there. Juxtamedullary nephrons is a different thing, and juxtamedullary glomerulus, juxtaglomerular apparatus is a different thing.
It is counted in
Juxtamedullary. Okay,
It's a two
it is
type of
this is we can say that this is the apparatus present over there. Apparatus means that you have to that there is some machinery is present over there. Nephron means that this is the proper a nephron present inside that. So means apparatus is the thing which is performing that function. Okay.
Okay.
Done. Any questions? Okay. Thank you.
What about the lower pin of renal vein?